The next topic we're going to talk about is graphing linear equations. To graph linear equations, you need two forms. Y equals mx plus b is your slope-intercept form, while your standard form is ax plus by equals c. Identify the slope and y-intercept of the equation. To identify the slope and y-intercept, the easiest way to do this is to put it into slope-intercept form. So that means I need to get it to look like this. To get it to look like this, you're going to solve for y. So my first step is to subtract 2x to both sides. So that I get 2y equals negative 2x minus 10. Y is still not by itself, so to get it by itself, I have to divide by 2. And I get y equals negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1x, or negative x. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. It says identify the slope, which is m, and the y-intercept, which is b. So in this case, my slope is negative 1, and my y-intercept is negative 5. I have to use the same steps for number 68. Subtract x from both sides, so that I get negative 3y equals negative x minus 6. Divide both sides by negative 3, so that you get y equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So it's 1 over 3 x. Negative divided by negative is also a positive. So it's going to be 6 divided by 3, which is plus 2. So that my slope is 1/3, and my y-intercept is 2. Number 69 says to identify the x and y-intercepts. Remember, when you are identifying the x, you cover up the y. To find the y, you cover up the x. So if I'm looking for if I'm looking for x, I cover up the y. And then solve. So I'm going to have 4x equals 8. Divide both sides by 4, and you get x is equal to 2. That is your x-intercept. Do the same thing for y. You're going to get negative y equals 8. Divide both sides by negative 1, and you get y equals negative 8. This is your y-intercept. So you're going to use the same steps for 70. Cover up the x, or cover up the y, so that you get 6x equals 60. Divide both sides by 6, and you get x is equal to 10. X-intercept. Cover up the y, or cover up the x to find y, and you get 15y is equal to 60. Solve for y. Divide both sides by 15, and you get y is equal to 4. This is your y-intercept. 71. Graph the following linear equation. Okay, the easiest way to graph this, third basket, thank you, is to graph the slope, or the y-intercept. So if negative 3 is my y-intercept, I'm going to put a point at negative 3. My slope is going to be 5 over 1. So that means it's going to be a positive 5, so I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. And if you can go the opposite, go the opposite. Over 1. Connect. Oh, and I totally missed. Undo. Thank goodness we have an undo button. Oh man, that was even horrible. Sorry. Ha. Third time's the charm. Got it. Okay. That's how you graph using a linear equation in slope-intercept form. If it's not in slope-intercept form, you can put it in slope-intercept form. To do that, subtract 2x from both sides, so that you get 4y equals negative 2x plus 28. Divide both sides by 4 and simplify. Y equals negative 1 over 2x, because negative 2 over 4 is the same as negative 1/2, plus 7, because 28 divided by 4 is 7. This is my y-intercept, so I'm going to put a point at positive 7. And then this is my slope, negative 1 over 2. So I'm going to go down 1 over 2. Put a point. Down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. And graph. That is how you graph using an equation in standard form. On number 73 through 75, they give you the equation, or they give you the graph, and they want you to find the equation. Well, here, it says that I have a y-intercept of negative 2, so b is equal to negative 2. And my next visible point looks like it might be here. So because it's a negative slope, m is going to be negative, and it looks like we went 1, 2, 3, down 3, right 1. So it's going to be negative 3 over 1. Well, none of my problems give me the equation in standard form, or slope-intercept form. They're all given in standard. So I'm going to change them to look like slope-intercept. So if I have x minus 3y equals 6, and you'll probably need to get out some extra scratch paper because you might run out of room. Okay, solve for y. Subtract x, so I get negative 3y equals negative x plus 6. Divide by negative 3, and I get y equals 1/3 x plus 2. Well, first of all, I'm sorry, not plus 2, minus 2, because it's a negative 3. So this should be a negative 1/3. Well, my y-intercept is right, but there again, my slope is 1/3, when in our graph it was negative 3 over 1. So it can't be A. Okay, so let's look at B. X plus 3y equals 6. Subtract x. 3y equals negative x plus 6. Divide by 3, and you get y equals negative 1/3 plus 2. Nope, slope is still wrong. So it can't be that one. Well, is it not moving? Oh my goodness. This board keeps messing up. There. Alright, so it can't be A and it can't be B. So let's try C. 3x minus y equals 2. Subtract 3x from both sides.
Dion Brown,
and you get
in the building, please report to the front office. Dion Leon Brown. Please report to the front office.
Negative y equals negative 3x plus 2. Divide by negative 1. And you get y equals 3x minus 2. Well, my slope-intercept is right. But my y-intercept is right, but my slope is still wrong. So it can't be C. Therefore, it should be D. But let's check it out. Let's make sure that D is right. So I have 3x plus y equals negative 2. Subtract 3x from both sides, and you get y equals negative 3x minus 2. Yep, answer is D. Okay, for number 74, you can clearly see what your x and y intercepts are. So I would use the method of finding x and y intercepts to solve this one. So to find the x-intercept, cover up the y, and you get x equals 1. Find the y, you cover up the x, and you get y equals 1. Well, this one, if it was x equals 1 and y equals 1, it should be here and here. Well, that's not right. Okay, so let's try B. I got x equals 1, and then y equals negative 1. The reason why y is negative 1 is because I have to divide both sides by negative 1. So positive 1 divided by negative 1 is 1. X equals 1, y equals negative 1. So B is your answer. $75. Because your x-intercept isn't clearly on an exact line, you can't use the same method as 74. So you need to convert it to slope-intercept. So problem 75, I first have 4x plus 5y equals 15. Subtract 4x to both sides, and you get 5y equals negative 4x plus 16. Divide by 5, and you get y equals negative 4 over 5x plus 16 over 5. I'm so sorry. That 16 should be a 15. This is 15. And so because that's a 15, 15 divided by 5 is a plus 3. So, yes, it's a plus 3. And it's negative 4. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my point should be here. Well, A doesn't work. So let's try B. 4x minus 5y equals 15. Subtract 4x. And I get negative 5y equals negative 4x plus 15. Divide by negative 5. And I get y equals 4 over 5x minus 3. Well, first of all, minus 3 is down here, and that doesn't even touch the graph, so it can't be B. So let's try C. 5x plus 4y equals 12. Subtract 5x from both sides, and you get 4y, not 4x, 4y equals negative 5x plus 12. Divide both sides by 4, and you get y equals negative 5 over 4x plus 3. Plus 3, negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. So my answer is C. Graph the following linear equations for number 76. You're going to put a point on the x-axis at -1. Put a point. Anytime you have x equal to a number, you are going to have a vertical line. So it's going to look something like this. For y equals, you're going to go to the y-axis and put a point at +4 and draw a horizontal line. So y equals is horizontal, while x equals is vertical. I believe this is our last topic, so I'm going to include the last topic in with this video too, so this might be a little longer than the other ones. Writing linear equations giving a point and slope or 2 points. When you're just given a point and the slope, you're going to use the point-slope formula. The point-slope formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where for problem 77, you have x1, y1, and my slope. So I'm going to do y minus 9 equals -4 parentheses x minus -2. Two negatives side by side become a positive. And now I'm ready to distribute. Y minus 9 equals -4x minus 8. Add 9 to both sides. And you get y equals -4x plus 1. That is the linear equation. So if you look at number 78, don't be scared of the fraction. It is okay. You will live. You're going to have y minus -3 equals 5/6 times x minus -12. Everywhere you see double negatives, change it to positive. Now you're ready to distribute. Y plus 3 equals 5/6x plus 5/6 times 12/1 is going to be 60/6. So 5 times 12 is 60. 6 times 1 is 6. 60 divided by 6 is 10. Subtract 3 from both sides, and you get y equals 5/6x plus 7. So that's how you write a linear equation given a point and slope. The next two examples, you're only given 2 points. So you have to use the slope formula followed by the point-slope formula. The slope formula being m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you have to use that formula first, and then use the point-slope formula, which was on the previous page, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 in parentheses. So for this one, you can label x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to have m equals -8 minus 7 over 6 minus -3. Double negatives, change it. -8 minus 7 is going to be -15 divided by 9. This will reduce. A number that will go into both 15 and 9 is 3. So I'm going to have -5/3 as my slope. Plug it into the formula. It does not matter which ordered pair you pick. I'm going to pick the second one. If you want to pick the first one, you can. You will get the same answer. So I'm going to have y minus -8 equals -5/3 x minus 6. Double negative, change it. Y plus 8 equals negative 5/3 x. Negative 5/3 times 6 is going to give me negative 30/3, which is going to give me negative 10. Subtract 8 from both sides, and you get y equals negative 5/3 x minus 18. And I believe I made a mistake somewhere. I found my mistake. When I distributed the negative 5/3 to the negative 6, it was a negative times a negative. So this should have been a positive. Okay, that was my only mistake. That should have been positive. So plus 10 minus 8 gives me a positive 2. Okay, I just forgot to distribute a negative times a negative. So this is your final answer. Number 80. This is the last problem of the packet because we're skipping the rest of the packet. Label x1, y1, x2, y2. So that you're going to have your m equals 2 minus 3 over negative 6 minus negative 5. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Double negative, change it to a positive. Make my line smaller. Negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. So a negative 1 divided by a negative 1 is a positive 1. I'm going to pick the second point. Y minus 2 equals 1 times x minus negative 6. Double negative, change it. Always change it. Distribute the 1. I'm going to have y minus 2 equals x plus 6. A 1 outside the parentheses will not change anything. Add 2 to both sides, and you get y equals x plus 8 as your answer. Y equals x plus 8.